All right, we are live. Welcome to Classic Mix Up, episode 2. We have the face cams for episode 2. I'm Rosario.
And I'm Riley. Welcome back, everybody.
Yeah, so if you're watching on YouTube, you get a little face reveal. But yeah, how are you?
Dude, I'm doing great. Dude, I've listened to so much music. I think
Yeah, it's a big week, man. We got a big day Friday. Kenny Mason just dropped, but yeah, we're gonna talk about.
I've not listened to that either. So
yeah,
we can talk about that next week.
Yeah, we talk about that next time. Yeah, so yeah, today we're talking about 1999 by Joey Bada and Midnight Marauders by Tribe Called Quest. So we got a couple of true boom bap New York rap albums that we're gonna talk about today. But yeah, before we get into it, I just want to say something funny that I found out this week. It's hard to follow, okay? My friend's brother's friend's cousin is a Babytron. Isn't that sick? I'm like 5 degrees away from Babytron, aka the GOAT, if you don't know.
The king of the mitten.
The prince of the mitten. Okay, the Michigan
Emperor
man.
of the universe.
Yeah.
My resident.
My friend's brother has a friend whose cousin is Babytron. So
yeah.
Do you follow that? I didn't think it was that hard to follow.
That's not that hard.
It's not that interesting, but shout out Tommy, shout out Babytron.
Do I know this kid?
No, he's one of my friends from school.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. Just I thought it was funny, so I had to mention it. But
that's our boy Babytron.
Babytron is a legend, man. I know we're getting off topic
true
already,
underground artist.
Yeah, he's on the come up. He just hit 1 million listeners on Spotify, like maybe today, maybe yesterday, when we're recording this.
Town. He's gonna be in Detroit.
Yeah, he's gonna be in Detroit on October 25th, and I totally can't go because I'm nowhere near Detroit.
I would go by myself. That's it. I'm gonna go by myself.
None of our friends like Babytron, dude. It's just us.
Just me and you. Yeah, I know.
Should have taken the opportunity to go in the summer.
Get on Babytron right now. No,
yeah,
just okay. Joking.
Yeah, he's an interesting artist, but I don't know. Now we're getting way off track. My friends are gonna listen to this and be like, "Here he goes talking about Babytron again."
Oh, dude, there's nothing wrong with that, man.
I love Babytron so much, dude. He is a legend. But
yeah.
Anyways, you want to reel it back in here? You want to?
Yeah. So yeah, we our 2 albums, 1999, which Rosario gave me by Joey Bada, and I gave him Midnight Marauders by Tribe Called Quest. They kind of both follow they're both considered New York boom bap.
Yeah, similar soundscape.
90s. Yeah. Well, a Tribe Called Quest album is from 93. Yep. So it's like the true boom bap, and then Joey Bada
the OG
came out
2012.
2 decades later almost.
Right.
So it's like we're able to we're going to break them down and kind of like compare how the older album influences the new album and so on. So
we're going to just talk about a little like Riley said, a little compare and contrast, and then just about like why you love these albums so much. Because I know Midnight Marauders is one of your favorites of all time, and 1999 is actually one of my favorites of all time. So yeah,
for sure. Okay, so I'll get into. So I gave you Midnight Marauders. Yep. It is probably my favorite album, or it's a 1B album for me, 1A, 1B type. It's so much nostalgia. I have a Tribe Called Quest tattoo on my leg. Like, I love Tribe. Favorite rap group, favorite rappers, Q-Tip, Phife Dawg, like some of the best rappers in my opinion. Just fun. They just always like went straight to the point rapping, and I think that's why I like this album. Still to this day, I play it like all the way through. I gave it.
And this was my first listen of it, so
really just gave you a big influential album in my life, and I want to hear your thoughts before I like break anything down.
I'd love to give a few notes about it. Well, I mean, first off, I'll just say like I liked it. I thought it was a super enjoyable album. I listened to it a couple times actually. So I thought it was. So I some people listening to this will know that some people that know me, like I don't have the greatest affinity for like 90s rap albums or especially early 2000s. There are a lot that I like, but there's a lot that I feel like sounds super outdated. So I'll say about this album, I wouldn't say it sounds outdated. It sounds like the 90s, but I think the sound is really still something that you could listen to today. And it sounds like music that's still being made, maybe a little different, but I don't think it sounds outdated. I think it sounds fresh and interesting. And just like the production is really good, like in general. That's like 100% the high point for me is the production as well as how well they fit on said production. I think it's like a match made in heaven. And I mean, obviously that's the formula for a great rap song, right? Is to have great production, number one, and then number two, have your rapping fit that production. And that's how you get like a super catchy, super, I don't know. That's like the formula, obviously, for a good album. So
yeah,
I think this is a great example of that. And I think it goes to show one thing I noted, I actually wrote down here. It shows the benefit, I think, of working with the same producer for a whole album. So you look at albums like Mad Villainy or something like that Boldy James and Alchemist album. Like when you have a rapper working with the same producer for the whole album. So obviously for A Tribe Called Quest, there's who's the producer out of the group again? I forget.
Well, Q-Tip does a lot of the producing, and then they have their Ali Shaheed Muhammad.
Right. So with Q-Tip and Phife Dawg and all them's rapping, Q-Tip is making the beats and rapping on them a lot of the time. And then when it's the other members rapping, they obviously know the producer personally. They know them well, and they're working together with them for the whole project. I think that builds a certain chemistry that a lot of rap albums are missing out on, especially these days. And that just makes a sound where it really makes it so that when you're listening to the album, you have one kind of sound, like one kind of vein that you're in throughout the whole thing. And it makes it to where, like you said, you can play it front to back and you can be in it doesn't sound choppy. It flows really well together and it just goes to show their chemistry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I love all of Tribe Called Quest albums. I was when I was like deciding which album to give you, I wanted to give you a Tribe album.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it was between this and two other of their albums. Their last album, which is came out in 2016, is a Thank You for Your Service. We got it from here.
Yep.
And it's such it's probably I don't know, it's probably like my number 2 favorite album of all time. Like it's very like
I definitely
it's very powerful. It's very I recommend it, like in your own time, like not really for an analysis kind of thing, just such a good album, very
definitely
powerful.
Interested.
My ringtone has been
oh really
off of that album. Yeah,
that's cool.
Off of that. Yeah. So it's like that album is very influential, and the Low End Theories, the album before Midnight Marauders.
Yeah, it was just Low End Theory's birthday, I think.
Yeah. Yep.
But and
and that song, that album, Low End Theory, was like their breakthrough album. Like you could say most people know them by Low End Theory or Midnight Marauders. But their first 3 albums are like awesome. So but I give you Midnight Marauders because I personally listen to that the most. It has the most replayability. Like it's an album that I have on vinyl and I listen to all the way through. Because I love the aspect of they have a narrator. Like, like
I love that too. I was gonna bring that up. I think go ahead.
I loved it as a kid. I love it now as an adult.
I loved
it. They just have a perfect voice from the narrator.
Yep.
It doesn't feel like a weird, like artists like JID have like little snippets after some
songs. Little samples. Kind of weird. Yeah. It's kind of West Side Gun does it a lot too. Yeah,
exactly. Like I feel like it kind of messes with the flow, but I think it's in the vein of like this kind of music, Midnight Marauders, like these kind of albums that
I think it's perfect.
But they fit like it's like the voice is almost like a little electronic as well. So it kind of like
it is very actually beats,
like yeah.
It reminded me of like a GPS like turn left in a mile, something like that.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. I thought it added a lot to the album.
Yeah.
It reminded me of, I wrote down the second I heard it, this is like the first track. I'm like, oh, there's narration. And then I wrote down Under Pressure, which is the Logic's, I think like maybe first album or something, which is pretty good album, but it has like the exact same almost voice narrating it. So I want to say that Logic got that concept from this album. So there's this album's influence showing it right there. And I wrote down a couple times in my notes, I think this album is super influential. I think it got sampled in a couple things, which I might talk about later.
Yeah.
And I think it inspired a lot of things, including maybe Logic's use of narration on Under Pressure, because I love the narration in that album, and I love the narration here. I think it adds a lot. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I just, this album is so fun. Like, that's just the best way to describe it.
It is.
Like,
it seems like a group of guys just like doing their thing, like in the studio having fun.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy because the group itself is known for just like hating, like Phife Dawg and Q-Tip like were at each other's throats.
Really? Do they?
Well, they break up in 1998,
and then got back together.
Well, way later in 2015. Okay. So they broke up in 98 and didn't make an album until 2016 when Phife Dawg died.
Gotcha.
So so like, it's funny, like 5 years after Midnight Marauders releases, it's like they're not a group anymore. So it's like right after their fame, and the two albums after this are not that bad, and like they're just not as good though.
They're definitely less popular, but
yeah, 100%.
I honestly haven't even heard of. So they went Low End Theory, Midnight Marauders. I think it's called like Beats, Raps, and Rhymes or something like that. I don't remember. So it's I have to pull it up. I'm drawing so many blanks, but so it goes after this. After Midnight Marauders is Beats, Rhymes, and Life, The Love Movement, which has a lot of Jay Dilla produced songs. Oh, really?
So like the best songs on the Love Movement are Jay Dilla, and it's Jay Dilla at its best.
I can get behind that. Shout out to Trey. Shout out Jay Dilla.
Jay Dilla. Rest in peace, Jay Dilla.
Rest in peace, Jay Dilla.
But yeah, and then so it's like this album is like pretty much right in the middle of like their discography.
Right, it's like their prime, basically.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome.
Well, it has some of their biggest commercial hits too on it.
Yeah, I think is it Electric Relaxation one of them?
Yep, and the Word Tour are like
two. So Electric Relaxation I think was my favorite song. I think I had the most to say about it in my notes. First off, the production on that song is amazing, and the chorus on that song is amazing. And I think the chorus is super influential because, like, I can't quite put my finger on it, but it sounds like something I've heard before. Like, I feel like at least one person or maybe a couple artists have used that, like that "We Can Get Down" part. Like, I feel like they might have interpolated or sampled that somewhere because I just recognize it so much. And then the other thing I noticed about Electric Relaxation is the beat sounded super, super familiar. So I'm like, oh, this had to have been sampled in something. So I did a little research. So Electric Relaxation was actually sampled in 135 by Capital Steez, which is one of my favorite Capital Steez songs. And when I saw that, I thought it was so funny because like later today, we're talking about Joey Badass and Pro Era and Capital Steez, you know, all that. I think it's hilarious that Capital Steez sampled the very album that we're talking about as the roots of that. So that goes to show that I guess we picked some good albums without even knowing it. But so, and then the bass line reminded me of a J. Cole song. Like the second I heard it, I was like, oh, that's a J. Cole song. So I looked it up. So Electric Relaxation by A Tribe Called Quest samples Mystic Brew by Ronnie Foster, which J. Cole also sampled in Forbidden Fruit off Born Sinner.
Ooh.
So
that you pulled that song deep out of the discography.
Hey man, you play me a J. Cole bass line.
Born Sinner.
Yeah, that's a great album. Man.
Underrated
I love
album.
J. Cole. I love Born Sinner, but yeah. So I thought it was super cool that like I love personally sampling and finding old samples and stuff. So when I hear something that sounds like something I know, I'm like, oh dude, I have to look this up. I have to figure it out. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I that totally like sparked like a memory of mine of like Netflix has this series, it's like Hip Hop Evolution, and they do an episode of like different generations and areas of music. One episode is like this era of like Tribe Called Quest and De La Soul and I think they have like the Jungle Brothers and all that kind of stuff, like
right.
early
Early
late
90s.
80s, early 90s New York rap. And the thing that like they really focused on with Q-Tip was that he was in record stores at like 6 a.m. He would go to
like finding samples,
record meets, or like flea markets, or like
that's crazy,
vinyl swaps at like 6 a.m. with his boys, and like looking through all these vinyls, and like he's like because everybody was trying to find, like he would like
trying to find samples. It's not like how it is now.
Right. Oh, you can't. It's
right.
You have to get cleared by all like the record labels and all that. And it's
right,
so hard
but like, so right now we take for granted that we have a record of every song that's ever been released, pretty much, between YouTube and streaming services. We can access anything from any year of the past. Whereas in the 90s, you had to scour CD, or you had to scour vinyl records and cassettes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh,
to
yeah,
think
dude.
About. That just,
but it almost sparked more creativity, because you would have to buy records that you didn't know what were on them, and you just like
have to
put it on a player in the shop. Maybe if the shop had a player, and you would, randomly stop and point on the record, just hear if there's something you could use.
That's so cool.
Or like maybe you bought it without listening, and then like put it on your player and then listen all the way through it, and you could have dog shit. But then like the one time you can hear drums that are like perfect.
You hear it, you're like, oh, I need these. Right.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, sampling, people who aren't like big into hip hop don't understand that sampling is an art form, and sampling makes or breaks your song as a producer. Like, you look at the best producers of all time, you look at Dilla, Madlib, Kanye, like the samples that they find work so like, it's impressive to me. That's one thing that I find super cool in hip hop, is the use of samples, and like how, I mean, I got to think that it's hard to find samples even now with the internet, but I can't even imagine like back in the day, like having to go through records and stuff to find samples. Like, it's impressive.
I almost feel like the internet now, like, almost is like overstimulation. Like,
it is. I mean, it is. You have everything at your
so
fingertips. Right.
Because I feel that too. Like, even just listening to music, like I love music so much that I'm given like 8 albums to listen to at a time, and I'm like, oh man, I can't focus on this because I want this 9th album that just came out or something, And
right.
I only can imagine what it's like to produce, So
yeah,
crazy.
Yeah. So another thing that I wanted to highlight, I touched on it, but I wrote about the song "Keep It Rollin'," my second favorite track on the album. I guess I like the popular songs, but nothing wrong with that. I love this song because it goes on what I touched on earlier. Something that I like in a rap group is the ability to have chemistry, the ability to go back and forth, come one after another, one good verse after the next, and like basically it reminds me of kind of like a cipher. Like I think, like have that many people rapping and just like working so well together. Like it's a perfect blend, of their styles. Not that they have similar styles, but I think it's cool just to hear different voices on the song. And like, if you look at today, even back then, but even more today, like how popular features have become, like people love hearing multiple different rappers on a song. So I think if you form a rap group and really like dial in like the ability to have that chemistry and go back and forth, it can make for some amazing songs. And I think that's showcased a lot on this album, namely on Keep It Rollin'.
Yeah. I guess like this song is like all of the songs, like even like the bars by like especially Phife Dawg, like he pats himself on the back so much.
Yeah, some Phife Dawg bars are a little
rapper. Well, and it's just like, but it's still, what I like about this album is like it still captures like the youngness of that the group still had,
for sure.
Like on their third album, they were still capturing that, like that true, like, oh, we're kids, like we just want to like
they're just having fun. Like they're just saying this is not the most lyrically dense album.
No, but the bars are still like
it's simple bars. So it's simple yet effective rhymes, I'd say.
Yeah.
There's not like an MF Doom rhyme scheme in any of these songs. There's not many internal rhymes. It's literally it's like classic early 90s, like I took my dog to the park. He let out a bark, like stuff like that. But I don't know, it works. Simple yet effective, I'd say.
Yeah, no, I love this kind of stuff. Like I love the the more boom bappy, like even like the simpler.
I mean, that's how you rap on those type of beats. So
yeah, but just even like the subject matter, like the reason why like Tribe is like one of like probably my favorite rap group or rap artists of all time is that like you can pick up on what they're saying no matter who's rapping or what like is being said. Like, and it was very like, well, like listening to songs like even like Award Tour, like are I don't know, it's just very like positive. Like you can listen to it and
it's kind of uplifting.
Well, yeah, it's hard to explain because like I remember having a conversation with my mom about how much I love Tribe, and I was like, oh my god, it's just like I can't explain it. Like it's just so fun. And she said they rap in a way that you like hear it, like not as in like general people, but as me listening to it, I pick up on what they're saying and I feel what they're saying.
Yeah, it's like it's like a feeling. That's what I was gonna say.
Well, and I think there's a line. I'm trying to find a line because I obviously like didn't write down the line I wanted to talk about.
Right. I wrote down one.
It's an Award Tour, and it's like
okay.
So it's an Award Tour, and he's like, I think it's a Q-tip line, and it's like, take off your coats, ladies act like gems, sit down Indian style as we recite these hymns. Like that set up into the next flow of that line is like, see lyrically are Mario and Andretti on the Momo, ludicrously speedy or infectious with the slow-mo. And then it's just like keeps going. Like that whole like
it's a good flow. It's a simple but a good flow.
It breaks out like 8 bars or something like that. Like the lyrically are Mario Andretti on the Momo. Like after that part, Q-tip just busts out all these like It's just like, and it's
I envision them in the studio just like having fun, just like saying shit, you know.
Oh, it's the purest like it. And I almost like get surprised sometimes at like some of the verses like that, like some of the bars that are like, I'm like, oh, it's just a simple Tribe like verse, but then I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, this is here, and then like this little gem is in this song, and it's like, so it's, I don't know, like, and most of like I'd say like the chorus of these songs aren't crazy. They're very simple, like fun, sing along.
But it works. It's catchy.
Some of the bars are like will catch you and be like, oh, that's a little clean, like that's a little like that Mario and Andretti bar,
right? And, so I actually noted the opposite of that only once, but I found like a really bad bar that I thought was just funny. But
what is that?
So in the song "Oh My God," I'll read off exactly what I wrote. So for this song, I wrote, Fife Dog's verse is so funny and the chorus is so bad, which is a shame because Q-tip's first verse was solid. And then I wrote, Fife Dog said, I like my beats hard like 2-day-old shit. Steady eating booty MCs like cheese grits.
It's so good though.
I mean, when you hear it with the beat, you're like, oh my god. Like it's funny. It's not like genuinely bad, but yeah. Apparently I didn't like the chorus on this song. I don't really remember it, to be honest, but I didn't like it, I guess. I don't know.
Which song was that again?
Oh my god. But I said that Q-tip had a really good verse. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good. I would say that's one of the. It's one of the more popular ones, but
yeah. Well,
I love that.
Fife Dog's verse was just funny. Fife Dog's verse just made me smile. I don't know.
I don't know. It's just this whole album is just fun. Like I remember,
it is fun. There's not much to say about that other than that. It's
It's an iconic album though. You could like, I think it's an iconic album because it like. It's that peak of A Tribe Called Quest, and then it's so much influence that it has on the rest of rap.
Very influential. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's so funny because my favorite songs aren't even on this album. Like I would say, like most of my favorite songs are off of like the album before this, their last album, or their first album. Which is, 2
right. Yeah, I really want to listen to We Got It From Here. Thank you for your service. I think it's
it's so good. There's a Kendrick.
I know there's a hidden Kendrick
feature. Tokyo.
Yeah.
There's Andre 3000's on it, and it's so.
Is there really? Oh my god.
Yeah, it's called Kids.
I need to hear the Andre 3000 verse
so
for sure.
Good. I almost I was thinking the other night when I was re-listening to this album, and listening to the rest of I got into a deep rap hole, and I listened to some rap songs again. It became one of my favorite albums.
I love
again,
some rap
like,
songs so
by
much.
Earl Sweatshirt. That's a great
We should
album.
probably have to
Really
dedicate a
short
whole
album.
episode to that, dude. It's short, but there's a lot packed in there.
Oh yeah. I could go on about like
we could go on a
stories
tangent
I
for a
have
little.
to each song. I could go on personal stories like, oh, this song reminds me of this time. This song reminds me of this. This bar reminds me of
and
this.
we should do that one day, but
insane. So anyway, I fell into a hole of listening, and I like kind of regretted giving this album because Thank You for Your Service has more like punch,
more
for
stuff
me
to talk
as
about.
a listener. Well, if this Midnight Marauders is not my first Tribe album, it was Thank You for Your Service.
Okay.
I'd always heard about Tribe. My dad is a big Tribe guy, and he was always like, "Oh man, you got to listen to this documentary or watch this show." And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know Tribe," but then that album came out. Love it. I still like it's my ringtone on my phone. I still get goosebumps listening to like the opening songs, like 4 or 5 songs in a row. I'm like,
That's awesome.
I can't stop.
I love that feeling.
But so hold on to that. We can always do it for the podcast. So just like don't listen to it right away.
Okay, so hold off on it, you said?
Yeah. Well,
okay. I'll hold off on it.
We didn't talk about this, but maybe we should do the sequels or like the sequels to like these albums in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, right. So like you listened to 2000 or something, and I listened to We Got It From Here. Thank you for your service.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, I'm open for that.
Hey, put a pin in that. Okay.
Yeah, sneak peek for Classic Mix-Up Season 2, maybe.
Yeah, maybe down the road. We'll see. We'll put a pin in it. I guess it's a good transition into the.
Yeah, I was gonna say just if you have any final thoughts, or if not, just. I would say
so fun.
Yeah,
so
I would
fun.
say I recommend it. I'd say from someone who listened to it just for the first time, I'd say, I mean, I already touched on the chemistry is amazing on this album. The production is super catchy. The beat, the rhymes and the rapping is super perfect for the production. It fits on it well. I think it's a fun album to listen to. It's a good casual listen, and some bars that'll make you smile and some songs that'll probably be stuck in your head. So I'd give it a listen.
Oh yeah, almost every song on that album like makes me dance. Like
it's a fun one.
With my headphones on and I'm dancing around my room.
Like, it's that type of album. So yeah, but I guess we can transition to 1999. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So I guess I'll just say my little opening spiel, I guess. So. Yeah, so I gave Riley one of my favorite albums, or I guess, so it's technically a mixtape. So one of my favorite albums are Mixtape, 1999 by Joey Bada. I love this tape so much, dude. I have a lot of memories with it, and I think it's one of the most technically impressive rap performances of all time, maybe. And I think it's up there. So, like, yeah, my favorite thing about this project, I'd say, is how raw and personal and emotional it is. I think 1999, it really feels like a window into Joey's world. You know, like here's a 17-year-old kid in New York City who wrote just a rap album about his life. You know, and it's reminiscent of like another New York rap album, like Nas's Illmatic, of course, one of the greatest records of all time. Like, it's just a kid who is talented and raw and hungry, and you can really feel it in his music, and I love that.
Yeah, I've always been a Joey Bada fan since I like. But
this was your first full listen, though. Of right?
But I listened to. I think he had like the album American Badass. Right?
Yep. Yeah,
so
American
I listened
Badass,
to that.
I think.
Yeah, I listened to that album a lot when that came out.
Okay.
1999 was more like I listened to World Domination and Survival Tactics, but that's like some of his most popular music.
Right.
I just never. It was an album that I never got around to listening. I was always listening to something else, and I'm oh yeah, I know 1999 is a great album, but I just had. It's also an hour long, so like me sitting down to listen to an album, and I want to pay attention to it. It's like it's an hour.
There's,
like,
I think there's some songs that I could maybe do without, but I also think, especially, so I re-listened to it earlier this week for the podcast, and I'm like, I just got reminded of how much I love this album, dude. It reminds me of high school. This was like this is what I'll say. This is one of the albums that got me into music. Like, because I don't know. It's an album that got me more into rap because it is just everything you want in a rap album. It's like I said, it's grimy and raw and emotional at times, but at the same time, you have that contrast. Like he's also just a normal dude having fun and pursuing his dream. Like he's literally a 17-year-old kid at this time. He's in high school and he's just like making music with his friends and like, but also he's talking about some real life shit. And I love that contrast. And I think we'll get into it more as we highlight some specific tracks, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it's very evident. Like what I think is really cool is that like this album's production is like so consistent as well. You don't have songs that are really at different paces or different.
Yeah, right. Sounds. It's the same
it's all
vein
kind of
for sure.
Mm-hmm. Which I really like because like, listening to the album all the way through is like, it's interesting because like I listened to Waves as a single for some reason, which it's totally different, like mixing. Like Waves on the album is like more crisp. And
I haven't heard the single version, but I know kind of what you're talking
about. Kind of it's a little rougher because it's like came out a couple years before the
right. Yeah, so it's probably he was even earlier than even younger.
Right. So it was like Waves is insane, great song, some great bars on there. Yeah. Like
J. Cole used that beat for what's the song called? Where he does Kanye. False Prophets. J. Cole used that beat for False Prophets.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I think that's where I listened to this song for the first time because I saw
that. Both great songs.
I think my favorite line off at least Waves is like since 9-5, mom's been working 9-5.
Yeah, you texted me that lyric and I'm like, let's go, dude. I love that. I love that lyric. I love this song.
That I love myself some double entendres. Like I love like the since 1995 is mom's been working 9-5, like that grind.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just like the thing with this album is there's so many verses that I want to like bring up, but they're like they all mix in my head.
It's so lyrically dense.
Such a good album.
It is, and there's a lot of bars in here, like you said, double entendres, stuff like that. Kind of contrasting from Midnight Marauders now to 1999, where Midnight Marauders had more simple, quick rhymes. Mm-hmm. Joey Bada now has more like complex writing and double entendres and stuff like that, which is cool.
Oh yeah, like, but what's awesome though is listening to this all the way through. Like, there's songs that I would have never thought I would listen to, like From the Tombs. Like, I love From the Tombs.
From the Tombs
like,
is awesome.
Waves, I think like that, like Summer Nights weak in my opinion. Like not my favorite song.
I think I like it just because it's maybe the intro to one of my favorite albums, so it kind of. Right. But I like it.
Makes sense. I don't hate this. It's just not.
It's not one that I'm gonna replay the most. Definitely
right. Not. It's weak because you have Waves, From the Tombs, Survival Tactics.
Oh, I mean, this album starts off with a bang.
Even Hard Knock, World Domination.
Tracks 2 through 6 are like top tier.
Yes. So. Yeah. I would even say World Domination.
Yeah, World Domination is good too. Yeah, so, but I one thing I love about From the Tombs, I'm not gonna lie. This is one of my favorite lyrics before. But when I heard it in the context of our podcast, I like literally almost got goosebumps. This literally the like chorus or like the title of the song, it says "Resurrect the boom bap from the tombs," and it's perfect. Every time he says a syllable, it's perfect on the snare. It's like literally classic boom bap, perfectly done, and it ties in so well to what we're talking about. But yeah, Joey had a big part in literally resurrecting boom bap from the tombs, and there's a song about that, which is cool. So yeah,
I guess that's a good point because like Joey Badass really brought back boom bap, and then
as far as back into the mainstream, definitely.
Yeah, well, and he kind of went away from it. If we're being real Joey Badass fans,
yeah, true.
The past couple of years, he's trying to do other stuff and sound like other people. Like
and like
sounds like Middle Child.
Yeah, that one song sounds exactly like Middle Child.
Well,
what is that song called? I think it's called Revenge or something. It literally is exactly like Middle Child. But anyways,
which is a J. Cole song.
Yeah, which is a
J. Cole
great
is
song.
More like he's more singy. Like
that style is better for J. Cole. Like I want from Joey Badass. I want like hard, tough bars, dude. We do. We want bars.
Rhyming. I want
bars.
Wordplay.
And he brought that on 2000. He did, but just
okay. I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah.
I was scared that 2000 was gonna be a J. Cole ripoff, but I love 2000.
Right.
At least like I haven't listened to it all the way through. I have songs that I have saved that I'm like gonna go back, but
it
the
feels
songs
like 1999.
But like even like my favorite when I was listening to this and I heard the Capital Steez songs, and I like I think it was Survival Tactics, and then the one
Illuminati.
after.
Yeah,
Illuminati's insane as well. That Capital Steez verse is disgusting.
Dude, Illuminati's criminally underrated because it comes right after Survival Tactics, which, listen, all praise to Survival Tactics. It is one of, if not the best rap songs of all time. That doesn't take away from the fact that the next track on the track list, Illuminati, is also amazing.
It's just, oh God, like this, I just have to pull up the verses, like, the type to drop the soap when you soak it in front of most men. Like, what the, like, like,
that's a good one.
Because, like, it's funny, like, it's kind of, like, sus, but, and then, like, the next, I can't even pull up lyrics because I'm, like,
there's so many, okay, if you're just looking at the lyrics of this album, you could read, I could pull any lyric out of a hat on this album, that's probably good. I mean, they're so good.
Yeah, I just had to pull out that one lyric because I was listening to him. Yeah, like, did he just say that? I'm like,
that's a good one.
I'm sitting there like this in my car, like, like, and then I'm like,
that's funny.
Dude, that's so good.
Yeah.
And anyway, I don't even know what I was thinking. My favorite, like when I was listening to this album, and I was hearing Capital Steez verses, like,
dude,
like he has a line on 2000, Joey Badass does. On Brand New 9/11, where he's like, or I think it's Brand New 9/11, where he's like, rest in peace to Steez.
Yeah, rest in peace to Steez, dude.
And that, like, I'm like, rest in peace to Steez. And I'll be sitting and I'll have a song from 1999 stuck in my head, whether it be Illuminati or I think Penny Royal got stuck in my head for a little bit.
Yeah.
Or Waves or whatever. And I'd say rest in peace to Steez to myself out loud, and I'll be with like,
yeah, man,
like my girlfriend, and she'll be like, what did you just say?
It's so sad.
Like, oh, I'm like a rapper that I really like, his friend that was on his songs, he's dead, and he made a song. And I'm like, I had to explain all this lore, and I'm just like,
so much potential, man.
Yeah, for those who don't know,
Steez, yeah.
Capital Steez features on the you know, the songs that we were just talking about, Survival Tactics and Illuminati, and he is like, he
has a verse on Third Eye Shit. Don't forget.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. Yep. Because
so three appearances on this album. Yeah.
Yes, and he's like more of the spiritual like figurehead of this. You could say like this pocket of rap history.
Right.
You could even he has a lot of people that break down even his own personal music that is very spiritual and very like he tries to, I guess, prophetically kind of talk about the future or how he's doing. And the thing is like he had these more powerful messages about spirituality and that,
right?
But then he kills himself maybe a year after 1999.
I think it might have been 2013. It was Christmas Eve, I think, that he killed himself.
Yeah,
but
so it's crazy to like. And Joey Badass still raps about Capital Steez to this day.
I mean, they were best friends.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Well,
for his age, he was like one of the most enlightened and just knowledgeable and incredible rapper. I mean, honestly, maybe better than Joey Badass at this time. And yeah, we lost him tragically. So
yeah, well, it's crazy because like, I don't know. I mean, you're probably more into Capital Steez on his own work, but I only know him from this Joey Badass. Like,
right. So I would recommend American Corruption. I think it might be its only full length project. Someone could correct me on that, but
that was the one with the swastika on it. Was that the thing that he did like a little swastika?
Yeah. So it's a 47, but yeah, it does resemble a swastika, which I think is intentional. But yeah, it's only, I have the files for it. I can send you if you want, but for sure. It's not on any streaming services for sample clearance reasons, but it's a super impressive album, very reminiscent of 1999. I mean, same era. Joey Badass features all over it. It's a good album for sure. But yeah, I guess rest in peace.
He's like Capital Steez really like Survival Tactics is an amazing song.
One of the
But
best
without
ever.
Capital Steez, it's another song on this album.
He elevates it to the next level, and it's that chemistry that I was talking about earlier with Tribe. The way they work together is just, gosh, they would have been one of the best duos of all time if they kept making music for the next 2 or 3 years after this. They would have been. Unfortunate.
Oh, it's just his verse on Survival Tactics is like insane.
I personally love all the collaborations on this album. I love CJ Fly. I love Tina Apex. I love the rest of Pro Era. I think they all did a great job. And you know why is like, it feels like, I mean, these are literally just Joey Badass's like friends, like probably people he went to school with, people from the neighborhood or whatever. And it like, if, like I said, it feels so raw and emotional. Like the collaborations bring it to the next level. So you have Hard Knock with CJ Fly. His little verse and chorus is very good, very memorable. Tina Apex sings the chorus on Snakes, which is one of the better choruses on the album. Kirk Knight is on Where It's At, track 14. And then the closing track of this album, track 15, Third Eye Shit. It's like
song.
It's like an 11-minute cipher with all of these Pro Era members. So their collective at the time was called Pro Era. I'm not sure exactly who does each verse or who's on it, but it's like 11 minutes of like straight bars and everyone delivered. It's an awesome long like cipher song. But yeah.
I mean, just singing like I mean, we're jumping around a little bit this album.
You were all over the place. It's okay.
Yeah, but like Third Eye Shit, like I'm not a big long song guy.
Right.
So it's like listening to this song, like Third Eye Shit was like, I'm like, oh, okay, like, okay, like, you know, I'm listening to it and I'm like, oh, okay,
it just keeps coming.
I'll skip on. I'm like, okay, no, this is a good verse. This is a good verse. And even like the little hook that they throw out, like, you know, some Third Eye Shit. Like,
yeah.
That is gold. Like, that's
you
a
might
great,
get
like,
your wig pulled out tonight. And they're all singing it. It's like
a group of friends in a room. Like,
yeah, it is. And that's what I love about this album. It's, we both picked albums today, coincidentally, that are just like fun rap albums that are just sound like a bunch of friends in a studio, just like making music. It's cool.
Yeah.
You know,
so, this album is awesome.
It's incredible.
I recommend it. There's so many lines on there that I can't even explain unless I was listening to the song and I was like I can imagine us sitting in a car listening to this album and being like, I'm like, dude, that line, that's a good line.
There's so many. Like, so mine is I can't believe I'm blanking on what song my favorite lyric from the album is on. That's kind of crazy, but my favorite lyric is, he says, I got sick of class, started making classics. And every time I hear that lyric, I get like goosebumps because it's like, dude, this guy. So when I first heard that album, I was like, this guy is my age, like just wanted to make an album and he did it. And it is a classic. I consider this one of the rap essentials. And you texted me earlier this week. You're like, dude, this is an essential. And I'm like, I'm glad you think so, because I've always thought so. Yeah. And now I look at it even older now, moved on in college or whatever. And I'm like, this is just like a high school kid, man. And he made an album this good, this memorable, with this much staying power that we're talking about it a decade later, and he's still relevant. Like it's a feat. It's literally, it's just like Illmatic. I know Joey Badass is not on the same level as Nas, but it's just like Illmatic. It should get the same respect, I think.
Exactly. Well, and I guess what kind of sucks though is that like Joey Badass like always looked to top this album.
Yeah, he never capitalized on what this mixtape. As far as Joey Badass' career, like.
But that's okay. This album is
it doesn't take away from the fact that this is a classic. Yeah, it does not take away from the fact this album is a classic, just because his other albums are not as great.
But 2000 did a good job at.
It did.
I would say overall that 2000 did a good job at faithfully telling the story of 1999.
It did, right. So I'd say 2000, I wouldn't say it's a fantastic album, but I'd say it's a good album and a really good sequel. I think it follows up on 1999 well, because in 1999 you have Joey Badass talking about life, talking about girls, talking about like his neighborhood and like just like, you know, racial stuff, like some political stuff, there's some life stuff, some fun stuff. And you look at 2000 and it has all the same things, but now from the scope of a guy who's 10 years older, who's now 27 or 28 years old, looking back on it. Obviously, you're going to have a different perspective. So it sounds different. The lyrics are different. The perspective is different, but it follows up on it well.
Made money as well.
Right. Yeah. Now he's rich too. So that kind of changes.
He's got new
obviously.
Friends. Like I think of like there's a lot of arcing things from this in 2000.
Yeah,
like,
it is a bit of a character arc for Joey Badass. It is.
Like he's got these new friends, like, but he raps with them
the same way he did.
Yeah. So like we love West Side Gun here. So we're like big WSG, like
big West Side Gun guys here.
Big Griselda guys.
Yeah. Which we've talked about now 2 weeks in a row. Well, only 1 week got lost, but yeah, 2 weeks in a row.
So it's like he has a Joey Badass has West Side Gun on Brand New 9/11. And
so
just
good.
The way that they rap to each other about like on that album is like, it's just like, because Joey's like rapping and then they're
totally different.
West Side Gun. No, but like you could tell it's the same attitude as 1999 of like, okay, like, you know, these are my buddies that I've made along the way.
And JID is on it.
Which is
we're big JID guys here too.
Great song. What song is that?
Wanna Be Loved.
Yeah, that's such a good song. Like,
it is.
But yeah. Again, this album is great.
It's great. Yeah. I would we talked a little bit before the podcast. We talked about like, so we totally coincidentally both picked boom bap albums. We didn't plan that like at all, but we kind of picked albums that go kind of hand in hand with like, I guess, a timeline of rap. But like, I would say, I don't know if you made any notes of this, but as far as doing a little compare and contrast, I'd say the biggest differences that I found in 1999 to Midnight Marauders, speaking mostly in terms of production style, is 1999 really incorporated kind of a lot more like jazz stuff, a lot of different instruments. Because like old boom bap was just literally just like drum hi-hat, like snare hi-hat, and that like made up the whole beat, maybe a sample like looped in there. But I think on 1999 you have a lot more like synths, a lot more piano, just other sounds, more jazzy stuff like that. And that kind of shows in songs like Daily Routine and World Domination, Penny Royal, which is a MF Doom beat. So is Daily Routine, actually.
I love Penny Royal. That's
I think there's a few Doom beats on here. So I think Daily Routine and Penny Royal are, and then I don't know about World Domination, but rest in peace, Doom, dude. Another legend, gone too soon. But
rest in peace.
That needs a whole episode. I can talk about Doom for.
Oh yeah, we can. Yeah, we can.
We can talk about that another time. But I mentioned earlier the contrast. So you have songs like Survival Tactics, especially, and Hard Knock, especially, where he's just talking about like, I mean, Hard Knock, it's in the title, like it's a hard knock life. He's talking about how it's dangerous outside. He's talking about how people his age are getting killed. He's talking about how like police brutality, stuff like that. And the beat is like a classic boom bap beat, still maybe spruced up a little, sample, jazzy, whatever, but like it's heavy and it's serious. But then you have the contrast going into a song like World Domination, Daily Routine, Penny Royal, where he's just kind of like, the beat's a little more upbeat. It's still boom bappy, but it's got some more pep to it. And the subject matter is more just like, you know, World Domination is literally, he's like, hey man, we're gonna take over the world today. The first line, he goes, what do you want to do tonight? And then he goes, the same thing we do every night. Try to take over the world.
Pinky in the Brain. I love Pinky in the Brain. Like
that sample.
That's a deep childhood thing. And that song,
that's an obscure
the reason why World
sample.
Domination. Well, why it's like one of my favorites on the album is because of that. Like Pinky in the Brain. Love it.
It's a really cool sample and a really cool way to open up a song. You guys should check it out if you haven't heard it.
I love this album because like it deals with a lot of stuff that like a late teen, early 20s dude will like deal with, like, and I think it appeals to, even though it's like more harder and like it deals with a lot of like harder issues, like it either opens your eyes up to issues like police brutality and
from someone our age's perspective too.
Yeah, like or like just how hard the streets are, like you could say.
Yeah,
Like,
hard
but
knock,
in a
man.
way that is like more straightforward and appealing to like young,
Yeah,
like older teenage or young 20s males. Like I even think like songs like Penny Royal like has some of my favorite lines on it, because it's all about like
it's about a
random. It's
girl.
like, did you forget the time when we had the sticky roll and I tried to suck your titty hole for the milk in my
Milk for my Cheerio. Yeah, I
Cheerios?
love
And
that. I love that lyric.
such a good line, but it's like, but it's funny because like he's like, it's a song about this girl that like he
Yeah,
like
I love Penny Royal,
whatever.
man. Penny Royal
But
gets me a
there's
little in the feels.
he's like, but it's like he's dealing with it like he's a young
Like he's a
guy.
teenage, yeah, like
Like
he's
he's
dealing
like,
with it
dude,
like a
do you remember?
17-year-old.
He's like, remember when we fucked around? Like, what happened?
Yeah,
Like, I'm like,
he goes,
he's like,
yeah.
where the fuck? I
My
love it.
favorite
Like,
lyric from that song that gets me every time is he goes, "I keep her in my eyes at all times, not because I don't trust her, because I can't get enough of her." And I'm like, "Aw,
yeah,
I love that
yeah.
lyric."
Well, because it's like, I think when you're younger, you can kind of like say random stuff or more inappropriate stuff or
Yeah,
more
it just
personal stuff. And
and
it because that means more to you than like more mature stuff do, and like relating to
right,
that is like awesome for like, I think like digging into deeper stuff like that's like more relatable to like dudes that listen to this album or people in
yeah,
general,
like
like anybody that's
guys
just
our
like,
age, yeah. So I
yeah,
think that's probably a big reason why I started listening to this album probably in, I don't know, 9th or 10th grade. Like I listened to this album all through high school, and like that's probably why it was so appealing and interesting to me. And I never noticed at the time, because like that's just, not that I'm some super mature old man now, but like looking back, I'm like, yeah, like this is
it
exactly
still
how a high
feels to
schooler
me,
would write a love song.
dude. It's funny because I'm older than you, but this still is like appeals to me. This is how I
Yeah,
think.
we're in
This
the
is
we're
like
in the
how,
same grade, even though you're like a year older than me.
yeah, but still,
It doesn't
it's
matter.
like,
But yeah,
it's a,
it's a masterpiece of a mixtape. It's just,
oh yeah, yeah.
it's just so good. You
Yeah.
want to hear my hot take? I mean,
Go
I
ahead.
think it's pretty evident with everything I've said, but like, I don't know how hot this is, but I think 1999 is the greatest mixtape of all time. I think a big part of the reason is because I've touched on it. It feels like a mixtape. We've been calling it an album all day, but it is literally just a guy who went on his computer and recorded songs. Like it's just a mixtape, no album deal. And it feels like it. It feels like the kids from the neighborhood just got together and made a rap album about their lives. And when you compare this to, I have the camera on now so I can go, you compare it to mixtapes like Drake's If You Read This Is Too Late or something like that. You can really see how the word mixtape has lost its meaning, like in our current music culture. But I guess like kind of like much how 1999 pays homage to the classic New York boom bap sound, it also pays homage to a real classic mixtape, like some shit you would burn on a CD at home, hand out on the corner, and you hear that tenacity and that hungriness that you want to hear on something that's getting called a mixtape.
Mm.
That's my opinion on it.
Yeah. No, I guess you like made a great point of like, I don't understand how
It's technical stuff.
well, I don't understand how like artists now can like put
Yeah.
out something.
Like if you have a record deal and you have all the money and label backing in the world and you make a mixtape. Like I don't.
Well, but I feel like a mixtape is like perfectly encapsulated by this album because
It's literally the perfect definition of a mixtape.
songs.
Yeah.
And it's like it's a bunch of different rappers coming together, and even like the ending song Third Eye Shit is all of everybody coming together and
Come
being
together,
like, this
yeah.
is our shit. This is like, it's just so good. And like what's awesome is like you still have artists that are still doing honest mixtapes.
For sure.
It's just rare. It's just rarer.
Yeah, like JID calls DiCaprio to a mixtape, but I mean he had all the Dreamville backing and AAA features you could want. Like no disrespect to JID. I mean, obviously I'm never gonna do that, but like,
oh shit, dude.
I mean, as a mixtape, 1999 is a lot better than DiCaprio too. I mean, as just a body of music too, I think. But you know what I'm trying to say. And like, If You're Reading This Is Too Late by Drake, like, dude, like you are Drake. You are not making mixtapes.
You're already peak Drake.
Like, you're literally prime Drake. Great project. I love it. But like, How could you, in good
Not-
conscience, call it a mixtape? I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a good good like idea. I don't know.
Yeah. Any other closing remarks other than go listen to this project?
I have way more respect for Joey Badass as a rapper now. Well, because I already knew he was
For
good,
real.
but how much he is close to the music that I love, like Tribe.
For
It's
sure.
like, I didn't realize that.
For
But
sure.
I also would like to bring up the how this I see like New York boom bap albums on more of a spectrum. So I see like Tribe on one side, and you have like the purely like beats and drums.
Yeah.
And then I see like Illmatic in the middle, where you have Nas still
old
nasty
school.
Nas, still old school beats, but you
Right.
have Street Topics. And then you have 1999, where you have new production with jazz and all this kind of stuff, like but then you have Street Topics, or not just Street Topics, but like real
life topics. Yeah.
Right. But I
sure.
think that's attesting to the eras that these albums were made. Like Tribe was very like African, Afrocentric, like music, like everybody was talking about peace and love and trying to get like be one with your brothers and like all this kind of stuff. And then Nas was like, oh no, like shit's going on. Like
talking about
people are fucking dying.
Yeah.
And then Joey Badass is that product of the 90s that like Nas was rapping about, and he's now growing up in
he's pulling from that for his own music.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You hear a lot. I mean, obviously Joey Badass from New York, Nas, Tribe from New York. You hear a lot. We talked about influence a lot on this episode already, but you hear the Nas influence and probably the Tribe influence heavy on 1999. And then I'd say it's kind of sad that I don't hear many albums these days that sound like they were influenced, I guess, really by Joey Badass. I feel like that boom bap, old school New York sounds kind of dying. Like when I think of New York right now, I think of drill.
Yeah.
Like
Pop Smoke.
Smoke.
Or Ice Spice. Like she's from New York.
I can't.
Yeah, I know.
Dude, so you're not as chronically on Twitter as I am. Like for the record, I'm like chronically on Twitter. The amount of fucking Ice Spice shit I see is like criminal.
Get her off of the radio.
Sucks. I get she has a fat ass, but she sucks.
Get her off the radio. Drake met her. He's like trying to fuck her, and I'm like, no, get off.
I know he flew her out or something. I can't even keep up with all that, man.
Oh my god.
Dude, that's the era we're living in, though. Like that, like all you need is one song to go viral. And we're getting kind of off topic here, but like, she has one song, and now she has like 1 million followers. She's at like Rolling Loud with Fabio Foreign or whatever festival just happened.
She should be.
She's in Toronto with Drake off of one song.
Why highlight her though? There's so many other good female rappers. Like
there are, that's really the myth that there are no good female rappers.
No, it's because people like blow up the ones that are good,
that are not good. It's so sad to see when there's underappreciated like Rhapsody. I guess we'll do a little shout out.
Little Sims. Yeah, I love Little Sims. Dude. I listen to every single one of Little Sims songs. Yeah. Rico Nasty. I was
gonna say Rico Nasty. Yeah, she's
like where the fuck I'll even give Megan Thee Stallion a shout out because she even has bars.
She can rap when she wants to for sure, but she knows like I think so. I say this a lot about a lot of rappers who are kind of in that like pop mainstream vein. Is like. I think they could rap if they wanted to, but like they don't. That's not going to sell as big as if she just whatever she's doing.
But she's got her thing, and she's doing her thing. She's like that women empowerment rapper,
yeah, which is cool.
She's making fucking bang from it. But she's still a good rapper. I'd say she's way better than Ice Spice.
Way better than Ice Spice. That's no question. But
well, I guess like even to like I was thinking listening to this album, I'm like, where can we go from here and like talk about little like current day
New York current,
like
yeah.
Dude, it's all drill. Like, think of
it's all drill, which is
even Tekashi. Like,
drill is cool, but like I miss the boom bap, dude.
But drill is, Chicago, Detroit. I don't think of New York.
Oh, I mean, there's drill everywhere. The UK is huge for drill.
Oh, huge right now. Like it's like
UK rappers are popping off, which is cool, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, so the only like, it's funny. I don't know how in this we always come back to West Side Gun or Griselda, but like now you go upstate, you look at Buffalo.
Buffalo.
That's where
Yes,
the new
sir.
movement is right now.
Benny.
I'd say now that Benny the Butcher, Conway the Machine, West Side Gun, all those guys are carrying on the legacy of New York.
Our boy Boldy.
Yeah, Detroit.
I mean, he's
but
from Detroit.
He's carrying on the sound though, which is cool, man. I think there's still. I think the next generation of rappers, I mean, even not even the current ones, like the next ones that we haven't even heard yet, like there's still a chance that they will carry on this classic sound. Like, I feel like we've gone off on a huge tangent now, and I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. But I don't know. There's still hope for the
modern
new generation.
Day implications. No, we're on.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just thinking like, it's sad that I sound like such an old head, but it's sad that New York is just A Boogie and Lil TJ, like.
No, there's guys there.
There are. I know. They're upstate though. They're in Buffalo.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's funny because a lot of boom bap moved to West Coast, which is funny because
that's not how it used to be. Yeah,
wasn't boom bap. It was
not
West
at all.
Coast.
It was like chill vibes, but yeah.
Right. It was more R&B influenced, like Pac
sure.
and Snoop Dogg, like, which is
very
so funny
very in tune with the soul, I'd say. Whereas New York is a little more grimy.
Yeah. No, I'd say. Did you have you ever gotten into Coast Contra?
I have listened to his radio freestyles, and they're really good. And I have a list. I have a long list of albums to listen to, and his most recent album is on my list. So I'm familiar with him, but I haven't listened to it.
Good. They're from Philly, but
okay.
So it's like you can kind of, and they're like boom bap. They're like the more like. I would also say that what was it? Flatbush Zombies.
Oh yeah,
like a modern boom
bap.
Yeah,
they're totally different, but you can hear the roots though.
But like
you can hear the roots.
I love Flatbush Zombies.
They're cool, yeah. So have you heard the Beast Coast album? It's Flatbush Zombies, Joey Badass, Kirk Knight. I don't even know who else.
Yeah,
it's a dope project. Yeah. I remember they came out when I was in high school at some point. It was pretty cool. But yeah,
that's a great recommendation to use the Beast Coast album.
Yeah, if you're into that East Coast sound.
I think JID's on it.
He might have a verse. I don't know.
I think he is.
I haven't listened to that album in a long time, but if you're into that kind of East Coast sound, if you like Flatbush Zombies, I'd highly recommend the Beast Coast album.
And Joey's on it. I think
it's called Escape from New York. That's what it's called. Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of Flatbush Zombies, a lot of Eric the Architect, a lot of Michi Darko.
Love Eric. They used to have Eric the Architect's like solo album on Spotify forever.
Oh, and they don't have it anymore?
No, they took it off. And I was so devastated.
I saw Michi Darko released a new project. I don't know if you heard it or not. I didn't listen to it, but
I haven't listened to it yet.
I'm not the biggest Flatbush Zombies fan, but
I don't know.
Zombies.
Love them. I think one of my favorite rap songs of all time is called Lava. And it's
okay. I haven't heard it.
I think it's Zombie Juice, like it's his solo song, but they're all on it.
Okay.
It's produced by Eric Elliott and then I think Michi Darko's on it.
It has like a feature or whatever.
Yeah, like but it's just basically a Flatbush Zombie song, but it's like so good. And it was my number one Spotify song for 4 years.
Yeah, send it to me after the podcast. I'll check it out.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah.
But dude, yeah, I guess we can kind of transition out and like you listen to anything new this week? You listen to that Kenny Mason?
I did. Yes. I don't know if so should we do a little sneak peek of next week? Should I give the rundown?
Yeah, like
all right, so this is being recorded. So you guys are going to get this podcast episode on Friday the 30th. Also on Friday the 30th, there are, I think, 6 or 7 new albums dropping that we are interested in. So you have Rome Street. This is off the top of my head. Rome Streets, Freddie Gibbs, Boldy James, Kid Cudi, Blade. Who am I missing here? I know. I'm throwing Blade in there. Okay. We don't have to listen to the Blade album, man. It's okay.
I'm not listening to the Blade
album. Okay.
I'll listen to it like 6 months from now. I'm just not.
Okay.
Not with.
But, and then maybe the most important one out of them all for me is Kenny Mason dropped today, Wednesday, the 28th. Kenny Mason just dropped his project Roughs, and it is something. It's a shift in his sound to say the least, but it is like I listened to it twice already. It's so good. I'll do a little mini review. So next week on episode 3 of Classic Mix Up, we're doing like a little new music week rundown. And I think we're gonna give like a little mini reviews and like give our thoughts on the albums that dropped. So we're not gonna have like 2 main albums to focus on. We're gonna have more like 6 or 7 ones to like give a little piece about.
Yeah, and it's not gonna be like so in depth.
Right, nah, it's not gonna be super formal. It'll be quick thoughts, like
first listens, like
right, just first listen reaction. So
yeah.
But in terms of new stuff, other than that, Kenny Mason, I tried to listen to Lucky's new album. You know Lucky?
No.
He's a trap artist, kind of in the Playboy Cardi, Destroy Lonely, like that Opium Gang vein. It's all right. It's exactly what you would expect from them. Not my favorite. I listened to that new Alex G album. I don't know if you're familiar with Alex G.
Yeah,
he's like it's like a folk pop, electronic amalgamation. I don't know. It was super cool and interesting. What's that?
He's coming into Detroit.
Oh yeah, is he?
Yeah,
that's cool. I wish I was close to Detroit. So we're from Metro Detroit area, but now I live nowhere near, unfortunately. So I miss all the concerts. But I'm coming back for JID whenever it happens. For the record.
Yes, dude.
But yeah,
that's definitely happening.
It has to happen. But yeah. Oh. But yeah. Have you listened to anything other than that, Alex G? Or?
Oh, dude, I days just got into Alex G. My girlfriend loves Alex G.
Oh, does she? That sounds like someone
she's going to the concert, and I was like,
cool.
Oh, I gotta listen to. I wanted to listen to because I was like, I hate like not knowing an artist when someone's talking about them. So I may not like it 100%, but I like knowing what they're talking about.
Yeah, I thought it was. I don't know. It was getting really hyped. I thought it was. There was a couple like really really cool, interesting tracks. But I personally don't like the like folktronic, like the electronics and singing combination.
I agree.
I like anything electronic music wise has never really done it for me, but it's an interesting project if you want to check it out.
Yeah, I forgot what it's called.
It's called God Save the Animals by Alex G. It's worth a listen if you like. I guess it's hard to categorize what it is. I don't know. It's like electric folk pop. Super indie and like music nerdy. It's really weird, indie, but
you could say.
Indie folk. It's definitely indie, but
electronic indie folk.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about it though, so that's kind of all for that.
Yeah, I listened to like a little bit of his earlier stuff, like some of his top hits, and I didn't hate it. It's just like it's hard to put on my playlist.
I thought I would like it because I'm on this like super folk kick, and I thought he was a folk artist, but like.
It's really different. It's not really. It's like his own thing.
It's like electronic folk. It's. I don't think I like it much, but it was a. I listened to it. I don't know. I gave it a
shot. But anything besides that, like I really got into this band called Axe and the Hatchetmen, which is a true indie. Like
okay, that's a dope ass name.
It's so like one of my favorite songs is like opens. I was like. When I first met you, I thought your vibe was so cool. That's like the opening.
That's the title of the song?
No. That's like the opening line of a song called Goofy. Okay. And I sing it, like I'll sing it to myself, and like it'll be like my girlfriend will be like, "What? That's so like nerdy, like annoying, like
nothing wrong with that, dude. It's like the Joey Bada.
Like that's a good song.
Yeah, if it's good, it's good.
I listened to they have like one EP that's like I guess like a mixtape, but it's called Bear on the Roof, and all the songs on there are awesome, and they all have them as singles too. So like I guess I listened to the singles first, and then I found the EP, and I was like, I guess I'll listen to the whole thing all the way through. Besides that, I've been into heavier stuff too, like weird.
Oh yeah.
Like this band Super Bloom. They're very like I don't know, Alice in Chains, like early Alice in Chains-y kind of like sound.
Okay,
like
yeah, I see.
Some like grunge, new metal type stuff. And then I I got into Palace. I talked about Palace last week.
Damn, you've been busy. Yeah, I remember you talking about Palace.
Palace, big time. I love Palace. I listened to their new album that came out, I think, beginning of this year.
Okay.
Which is called Shoals. And it was not as good as their first album.
I'll have to check out the first album because you were talking pretty highly of it.
So it's so good. I love that. Like it's just so
What's it called? I'll get on my phone right now. Yeah, whatever one you would tell me to listen to.
Let me pull it up. I think it's
because like I told you I have a long ass list of albums.
So Long Forever.
Dope. I got it noted.
But yeah, every song off that album is good. What else? I've been listening to so much.
Sounds like it.
I found this random song on Twitter that is called Cone by Damaged Bug, and it's really synthy, like distorted rock alt kind of.
Oh, cool. I like that kind of thing, I think.
And it was very like random, and I was like, oh, why do I like this? Like,
yeah, one of those. I know the type.
And then the guy that does Damaged Bug is in this band called the OCs, which is a more popular band. They do like kind of the same thing, but like more like you could actually
less distorted. Yeah.
Got into them a little bit.
I like how that implies you can't enjoy the song that you did enjoy.
But more enjoyable to the masses. Like
more enjoyable to the average person.
Damaged Bug.
Right.
Let's see. Dude, I've been listening to so much. The Garden. You ever heard of them?
I haven't heard of any of this like indie band shit.
It's to be indie. Honest. It's so like it's so.
I don't know where you find these. Okay, so if you name like underground rappers, I got you covered. If you name like obscure indie bands, like that's not my.
See, but I can hang with the underground rappers, man.
Well, I think you just listen to a lot of music, man. You're qualified for a music podcast.
Oh, dude, I'm not. But
well, hey, no one asked for our qualifications, man. We just started doing it, so here we are.
Yeah, and I re-listened to some rap songs, and
dude,
we got it from Pure Thanks for Your Service.
We can have an episode about some rap songs. I'm down.
I found this band called Heavy Temple, and they're like kind of like a heavier, like soul rock band, and the chick that sings is a sick voice, and they have like one album. Priestess. Ever talked about Priestess?
Yeah, I listened to their they have that it's like the orange cover.
Hello Master.
Yeah, that's a sick album, dude.
I
listened to that.
I've listened to that album for a month straight. Like
I was gonna say I listened to that I think at the end of August, and it's been in my rotation, dude. It's so good. I forget the name of the track that's always stuck in my head from that album. It's like I think it's the second song.
Ooh,
I think it's like their most popular song. Actually.
Lay Down.
Yeah, Lay Down.
On Guitar Hero 3.
That's okay.
How I know Priestess.
Dude, that song is awesome. This whole album is sick.
I think my favorite song is definitely The Shakes, which is track 8 off of that album.
Yeah, and I don't know it specifically off the top of my head, but I'm sure it's good. That album's just really good.
And the album has like no plays, which is crazy.
Like, really, it's not like
Well, I mean, their most played song is laid down with 17 million streams on Spotify,
right.
But
and
like
there's a huge disparity
most of the songs have under 500,000.
Wow,
all-time listens. So,
well. I guess it's an underground band that I do know. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, does that about wrap it up for us?
I guess so, dude.
I guess so. Yeah.
What else, dude? I wanted to go to this blues show. It's one of my favorite artists, Patrick Sweeney. He's playing in Westland, Michigan. It's at this blues club, and the show is 21 and up. So I'm like, I gotta get a fake ID just to go to the.
Dude, that is the most Riley thing I ever heard in my life. Is you need a fake ID to go to a blues show.
Yeah, that's for me. If you want a good summary of like my dedication,
a great summary.
I would never get a fake ID.
No,
because I'm like, I don't really need it. I'm fine. But then I'm like, I can't get into my favorite blues artist like his like show because I'm not 21. I need.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I think it's really funny, but I figured I'd tell you that.
Yeah, nice little tidbit. Yeah. That's kind of, I did my Babytron thing at the beginning, and now you have your blues show thing at the end. It's perfect harmony.
It's beautiful. It's arcing.
All right, yeah. Well, I guess that's it for Classic Mixtape episode 3. I don't really know how to end the episode. I guess just thank you. Come back next week, I guess, to hear us talk about.
We gotta plug our stuff.
We do. So first, I'll say sneak peek to next week's episode. We're gonna talk about "Kiss the Ring" by Rome Streets, "Soul Sold Separately" by Freddie Gibbs, "Intergalactic" by Kid Cudi. I don't know if it has a name. The Boldy James Nicholas Craven Project, and "Roughs" by Kenny Mason. Does that sound good?
Perfect. That's all the music we're listening to. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, at the Classic Mix Up, or I think it's Classic Mix Up Pod.
Classic Mix Up Pod.
On both Twitter and Instagram.
Yep. You can click the link in the bio to see us on all our platforms. So we are on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, RSS. Subscribe, like, share, click, follow, all of that.
All of it. Supports us a lot. We like hearing feedback. We're glad to know that everybody's. I've gotten a lot of feedback from the first episode. People like it. So we're still here. We're gonna keep doing it. And
hope you guys like it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, see you guys next week.
All right. Bye.